Welcome once again to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili, and today we have a very special show. This is our last show for 2012, and we're going to walk down memory lane, Mr. Leggett. We're going to we're going to take this year and review it, and take a look at the highlight events for 2012. So thank you for being here. This is a 12th time we sit face to face, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here as usual.
Well, 2012 started with the new bag law, which means that county residents gotta bring their reusable bags to supermarkets and stores throughout the county. Otherwise, they pay 5 cents.
Right.
Some people understood the measure. It is about the environment, and some were a little reluctant about it. So give us an update on that.
Well, I think it's worked pretty well. I think when we first started and initiated, I think people had some concerns about it. People assumed that it was a revenue measure, and it really is not. It only brings in a relatively small amount of money compared to our overall budget. It is really designed to enhance the environment, to reduce the paper and plastics that we see out on the along the roadside and in our trash bins, and ultimately, too much of it gets in the water streams. We are currently paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.3 million a year for just cleanup, and that doesn't include the negative impacts to our water streams. And so I wanted to reduce that, to eliminate that. We have a model in the District of Columbia that had worked pretty well, and I thought we should institute this in Montgomery County, and we have, and I think that it's gone fairly well. Occasionally we get a complaint here and there, but overall, I think the citizens of Montgomery County had accepted it very, very well. And I think this is a model for other communities to follow.
How much has been collected with that?
I think we're probably just under $1 million. We anticipate that the ultimate amount would be probably somewhere in the neighborhood when it's fully implemented and people have gotten adjusted to it, probably less than $500,000 a year. We plow all of that money back into helping our water restoration efforts and water sewer protection charge that goes into that fund, and use it for commercials to enhance the awareness of it, because we continue to have more and more people moving into Montgomery County, and we want to make certain that everyone is clearly aware of the obligation, that is the requirement to provide bags. If not, you pay that 5 cents. So we don't want you to pay the 5 cents. I would prefer having you simply bring the bags into the store.
Into the stores and supermarkets, especially now during the shopping holiday season.
Yes.
Now, the beginning of the year, it's always a little tough in Montgomery County because it is budget time. This year you had to make some difficult decisions, but at the same time it was a budget that reflected some restoring of funding.
Well, yes, but when you consider the challenges that we faced this year and compare that to what we've experienced in the past few years, keep in mind that when I inherited his job, we had a very difficult challenge, even before the onset of the recession. And then the recession hit, and so I've had to close budgetary gaps over the last 5 years now, of 2.6, close to $2.7 billion. That's an awful lot of money. 1 year alone, we had $970 million. And so to reduce that to the level that we're at today, maintain the quality of services that we have in Montgomery County, our excellent education system, crime is going down, to enhance the environment, and to all the things that we are doing in Montgomery County, given the budgetary challenges that we face, I think has been really a remarkable success story. When you couple that with the fact that we've maintained our AAA bond rating. Just a couple of weeks ago, Montgomery County was awarded its AAA bond rating. This coveted award is really something that is quite unique, because the top rating agencies, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch, have all said that Montgomery County is doing an excellent job in managing its resources and paying its bills, and the outlook for our county is very bright. Otherwise, we would not receive that. We're only one of a few jurisdictions throughout the entire country to have a AAA bond rating from all of the 3 major rating agencies, and this really is something that is quite unique. But it shows that we've managed this transition very well, and that we placed the county in a very good, sound financial position. And our budgets, I think, in the future will be sustainable going forward.
Now, when it comes to the public safety sector, some of the funding was restored. The fire department, there's going to be 3 new fire stations built, right, and also more hiring of police officers, correct?
Yes, and not only that, we also advanced up some promotions in the fire and rescue services, and we advanced 1 additional class, and we are hiring approximately 48 additional personnel in the police department 44 sworn officers, and this is part of a 3-year plan that I have to enhance our department to ensure that we get up to the strength that I think that we should have. That is to make certain that we have people actually on the street to fill all the beats in a way and to cover some of the more challenging areas around the county. And I think Chief Manger has done a wonderful job of deploying the resources that we've had thus far in managing under some very difficult and tight circumstances. I think we need to have a little bit more flexibility because this is an area that we cannot afford to shortchange. And I want to make certain that our public safety component in this county is up to the strength that we need to have the men and women on the beats and have the personnel in places and to target areas that I think we have some challenges with crime.
Talking about public safety, one of the things that was in some sort of capacity accomplished this year was the passage of Question B at the polls on Election Day, which had to do with police bargaining.
Well, first of all, let me say right off the start, we have an excellent police department. We have an excellent chief and police, Chief Manger, and we have men and women throughout this department every day go out on the street to risk their lives, to be away from their families. They do a terrific job each and every day. What this was designed to do was to ensure that we make a good police department even better, to remove some of the challenges that management had, and it was a challenging period to go through, but I think ultimately we're going to be the better for it because it will preclude us from having to have this wasteful time in some bargaining areas that really should have been management core decisions. And so I think this will help us in terms of the efficiency and effectiveness of the department and management of the department. Clearly, at times you have people who may see those things differently. I understand that. I respect that from our rank and file police officers. But I think in this case, I made the decision that the police chief was right. And I think that his leadership has been excellent in this area, as well as running and managing the department overall. And I think the voters have decided that this is the direction that we should go. But this does not take away from the overall performance of our police department and the services, the invaluable services our police perform each and every day.
Another way that the voters voted in favor was Question A, which is another county question on the ballot regarding the disability hiring preference for persons with mental and physical disabilities for the county. How is that going to be implemented coming up next year?
Well, first of all, I'm extremely excited about it and extremely excited that the voters of Montgomery County overwhelmingly approved this initiative. It is something that I think will benefit the county because we're going to get excellent service of people who heretofore may have difficulties getting into the job market. It will provide them with some level of what I call the respect and dignity, that they are part of this overall system of county government, that they can contribute. They would get a paycheck. They would be a part of this, provide them with some invaluable skills. And when you see the pride and the support and you see the enthusiasm in which they embrace this program so that we can hire them long term and be a part of our county government, and the family's reaction to that, I think is just extremely exciting. And so this is one of these areas where I'm just so happy that I'm in a position to implement this. I fought very hard for it, and the ballot, the citizens overwhelmingly responded to that, and it will have a wonderful result for everyone involved.
Well, those were times at the polls, but we're going to continue talking and taking a look at the highlights of things that actually were accomplished here in Montgomery County during the year 2012. We'll be right back.
Going shopping this holiday season? Coming up with the perfect gift for everyone on your list isn't easy. It takes a lot of creativity to get the right gift for the right person. But when you find the perfect gift, don't add to your holiday stress. Be prepared when you stop to shop. You don't have to be this creative. Be sure to bring your reusable bags. Bring your bag. Fight litter.
This season, don't let a holiday celebration become a tragedy. If you're drinking, designate a driver. If anyone in your party has had too much to drink, see that they get a ride home with someone sober or call them a taxi. If you need a ride home, call Sober Ride at 800-200-TAXI. Sober Ride will give you a free ride home up to a $30 fare. For more information on taxi service in Montgomery County, go to our website at montgomerycountymd.gov.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett, and we are taking a look at the year 2012 as we wrap it up. So let's keep talking. Exciting things that happened in Montgomery County. A whole lot happened. You have a very busy schedule, and the truth is that a lot was accomplished this year. Now, MC 311 is one of those tools that it's incredible assisting county residents as far as services and complaints too. You know, you hear complaints as well. Hours were extended this year, and it did hit a milestone as well.
Well, this is part of what I looked at when I first came to this job, to ensure that we had transparency, more efficiency and effectiveness in county government. And it's part of a multitude of things that we were looking at. First of all, to be more transparent. Secondly, provide the services to people who actually needed them, and to do so in a way that was very accessible. And so the 311 system allows us to have a one-shot call, or you go to the web portal, or you look at what we have in Montgomery County in terms of services. You put in a request, and rather than to find the citizens or the residents calling from number to number, not getting the kind of satisfaction they want, there's a request number. We can track it. We understand it very well. And especially in times when we have major storms and outages and people are looking for information, and we have this volume of calls that come in, the 311 system has proved to be invaluable. And I worked on that during the campaign when I was running an initiative for this office, and something that we've delivered on. And so we've had this milestone this year. The second year, we've worked through all of the little bugs that you would have in the system in terms of technology, making certain that the people are properly trained, have the best management in place to run it, and a very responsive citizenry out there that utilize this in great numbers. And so it has been a real success story for us in Montgomery County.
Also, the recycling expansion, that was something that took place this year, and a very ambitious goal, 70% recycling in Montgomery County by 2020.
That's right. Well, keep in mind, I was on the county council, and along with Bruce Adams and myself, we set the original goal of 50%.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, and people thought that, oh, that was overly ambitious for such a large community with so many different elements that go into our trash stream. There will be no way to reach that. We're just about there. So I've moved that goalpost a little bit further this time, and so we're shooting for a much more ambitious goal. And that goal is something that I'm confident that Montgomery County citizens can achieve. We're going to work aggressively on this, and this is what we're doing. We're making certain that we have a greater outreach to inform people, to make sure that people are cooperating. We're expanding the areas that we are targeting, ensure that we bring in the school system itself, public education, to make sure that we expand it and get the business much more involved in it. And we are recycling more material. So the combination of things, more material that we can recycle, a broader base of people involved in the recycling effort, and also appealing to people to ensure that they fully understand why this is important. It helps us in terms of protecting our environment. And if we can do this right, then I am reasonably certain that we can get to that goal. But it's not going to be easy. We need everyone working together to make sure we get there.
Now, let's go back a little bit to public safety we were talking earlier. One of the things that was also accomplished this year is the county's emergency medical transportation insurance reimbursement. That's a long title for EMS. The county is starting on the 1st of January, going to start being able to bill insurance companies, Medicare for transport.
Well, yes, this is something I thought was long overdue. We had a bitter fight a couple of years ago where it was defeated at the polls. But I said to people at that time that we needed to probably come back to revisit that. And I had no intent at that time to revisit it as soon as we did, less than 2 years later. But an awful lot happened on the way here. First of all, we continue to have the budgetary challenges. We continue to have even greater needs for fire and rescue services. And more importantly, we had some significant financial changes at the state level that negatively impacts Montgomery County. A shift in the teacher pensions, a stronger MOE law, all of that reduces the flexibility that we have to provide the kind of resources that our citizens need in order to avoid not having to have this collection. Keep in mind, You will not be billed. It is something that will be paid for by the federal government and by insurance companies. We don't think that there will be any changes in your premiums. And if you have any challenges, any problems, or need for the service, please call. We will pick up any and everybody, and we will deliver them to the appropriate hospitals or clinics as needed. And there's no change, no charge as a result to that. We simply wanted to have the ability for those people who have insurance to bill the insurance and our Medicaid or Medicare.
And the county will be collecting how much on an annual basis?
We anticipate that the amount will be somewhere between $14 and $18 million. That money will be plowed back into the EMS, back into the emergency fleet for us in terms of personnel, training, equipment, and all of the things that we need to provide the responses that we need for a growing county. We have expanded in areas in the county like Clarksburg and Damascus and all over this county, in the East County as well. And we want to reduce the response time so that having the stations in those locations, the personnel as well as the equipment, that could go a very long ways in reducing that.
Not everything was good news in the county this year. Mother Nature was kind during the winter months, but not so much during the summer months, especially June 29th when that derecho storm hit the county. What was the tab on that finally?
We are looking probably now in excess of $15 million, the impact of that storm. We've been really in a very difficult position over the last 3 or 4 years. We've had ice storms, we've had snowstorms, we've had hurricanes, we've had wildfires in Montgomery County. We've even had earthquakes that hit us here in Montgomery County. A derecho, something that people never heard of before. We just had a superstorm a couple of months back. Everything that you can conceivably think about in terms of weather, we've been impacted by it almost in Montgomery County. I've said to some people in the past that if I get a call today from Fire and Rescue Services telling us that we've been hit by locusts of biblical proportions, I probably would believe it because we've been hit by everything else. But I think overall there have been the challenges related to continuation of electrical services in the county. We're working aggressively with PEPCO and others in the state to ensure that we have the quality services that we need from that. But overall, I think that we've managed it probably about as well as we can. We need to make sure that we get the electricity back in quicker order so that people will not have to suffer through some of the challenges they've suffered through thus far.
Challenges, we're going to talk about that in our next segment. We're going to take a small break. Challenges for 2013.
All right.
We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett.
Montgomery County 911.
I just saw a car crash.
If you ever have an emergency, be glad you're in Montgomery County. Thanks to the ambulance transport law, the county has more money to cut response times. Buy new ambulances and fire engines and hire more paramedics and firefighters. In an emergency, don't ever hesitate to call 911. If you live in Montgomery County, you will never get a bill or pay a dime. Hopefully, you'll never need to call Montgomery County Fire and Rescue, but if you do, we're there for you.
Are you sure they can recycle us, Clamshell?
Hey, Dome, we're on a new recycling postcard.
I can't wait to make a new start. Maybe I'll be a red carpet at a big premiere.
And I'll get to paint the White House.
Shh, here he comes.
Now you can recycle more plastics in Montgomery County, including #1 PET plastics such as clamshells, deli containers, trays, lids, domes, and cups.
We're in!
For more information on recycling, contact the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311. The wait is over. Recycle more plastics today.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Welcome back to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili. Thank you for joining us. And we're wrapping up 2012. Transportation, it was a big year for transportation. Green buses, green streets, modernization of the traffic light system. Lots of work from that department this year.
Yes, the department did a terrific job on some major initiatives, and the enhanced transportation management system and the red lights and signalization in the county was something that we aggressively pushed going back a couple of years ago, and I think we actually achieved it a little bit ahead of schedule, and so that will help us to ensure that we have a very efficient system without the kind of outages and challenges we've had in the past. So I'm very happy that we delivered on that. We are aggressively replacing some of the old Champion buses in our system. I decided a few months ago that we were beyond repairing it. I've lost confidence in those Champion buses. We've had a number of fires that, in my opinion, could pose a risk to our personnel, the drivers, as well as the passengers on those buses. So as a result of that, I made the decision to just simply take them all off the street, that we will go to purchasing new buses to ensure that we have the safety and remove that risk from passengers and employees.
Affordable housing is one of your 8 priorities in government in the county, and there has been a lot of groundbreaking and or planning of this model of mixed-use facilities where there is the affordable housing component as well. Very creative.
It has been, but we still have a very long ways to go. We have nearly 1 million residents in Montgomery County, and unfortunately, we have a very strong need continuing for affordable housing. We have some excellent laws in Montgomery County that spur on a requirement for construction of affordable housing. But if we're to meet the demand, we have to find ways to go beyond what is the stated goal and objective within the law, but to find creative ways in order to ensure that we expand the amount of affordable housing. During my tenure as county executive, there's been some level of success. We've either built, maintained, or expanded somewhere in the neighborhood of 6,000 affordable units. Unfortunately, there's still a large number of units that we need in the county. And more importantly, special units, especially those for seniors. We have an aging population of seniors in the county, many of whom are on fixed income. They need housing, and they need housing in a variety of ways, everything from assisted living to just regular housing in place. If we can ensure that some of the seniors who are currently living in their own home can stay there with modifications and adjustments, that's what we would prefer to do. But we need what I call a huge push of senior affordable housing. Underline that word now, senior affordable housing, because that's the goal for us here. And we've got a number of initiatives on the way. Rick Nelson and his department are working aggressively with groups such as AIM and others to try to help us to move forward with that. I just met recently with people from our senior commission to come in to talk to us about ways in which we can spur on this effort. But we're going to continue to push very hard to enhance the level of affordable housing, most especially senior affordable housing.
Now, with everything that is happening in Montgomery County, you have very little time to step away from Rockville. But you did go on a trip this year, an official trip to Ethiopia, and you signed a sister city agreement with the city of Gondar. Just a quick highlight of that trip and what it meant.
Well, first of all, you don't ever fully step away from Montgomery County, not in this job. I mean, I was not physically in Montgomery County, but given the technology today, the internet and telephones and everything else, you continue to be engaged and work even as you travel literally around the world. And I think that's the kind of effort that we've had continuously to ensure that we maintain contact. So even if I'm not here physically, oftentimes I'm doing county business when I'm away. But this was a trip that we provided as a second phase of our sister city relationship with the county. And we did Gondar, Ethiopia, which was a fascinating visit. We took about 40 people with us, all paid for by individuals themselves and not by the county government. We've established a number of initiatives that we're working with them in terms of housing and health clinics and education. We carried computers, we carried health clinic permits of kits of information and resources that they need there. We have a very large and enthusiastic Ethiopian community right here in Montgomery County. And so we're working with them to enhance economic development on one hand, but more importantly, the kind of sister-sister relationship that I think that is important, people to people, to help the various countries that we're working with the kind of efforts that they need within their country, and for us to better understand our own residents in Montgomery County who happen to be a good part from Ethiopia and from other places around the world. But it was an exciting trip, very satisfied with it, but even when I go to Ethiopia, I haven't stopped doing business day in and day out from Montgomery County.
Well, you can't, sir. We need you here. Now, one of the last things that was launched was this new access to the Open Government Interactive Initiative. Very briefly, talk to us about it.
Well, this is a major effort. It goes on to the other parts of transparency and openness that I want for Montgomery County. to make us one of the most accessible areas of government anywhere in the entire country. As you know, I instituted the 311 system that opened up a whole area of contact with county government. We provided, as one of my initiatives, the county stat that goes a distance in providing that as well. In addition to that, now we've provided open access to Montgomery County, a much broader transparency that will have 4 different areas of portals that you can look at. One, data, so you can get raw data about virtually any and everything in county government. We continue to build that. Access that we'll have. We will also have a mobile Montgomery as well. Engage Montgomery, where it's a virtually town hall cooperation between citizens that you could talk to us about virtually anything, because that technology will be available for you across the spectrum, across the board, and we will evaluate all of it. So you have greater information, better access, a more timely fashion in which to get it, and it will be something that will be much, much more user-friendly. So this is an initiative that very few communities anywhere in the world have, very few. And we are taking a step to move Montgomery County into the digital technology in a way that few have done so in the past.
Now we're saying goodbye to 2012. Welcome 2013. What are the priorities and challenges?
Well, you never get away from the number one priority, that is sustainable budgets. No matter how you look at this, you have to make sure you do that. And the challenges for us right now will be transportation, transportation, transportation. That's the lifeblood for us in Montgomery County. We will continue the initiative to reduce public safety in terms of crime, continue to enhance our educational system, and do a much better job to ensure that our environment is one that is responsive, and trying to ensure that we provide the help and support for the most needed within our community. But right now, the biggest initiative for us going to Annapolis, here locally, is transportation.
Transportation and challenge. Any regrets from 2012, very quickly?
No, I just believe that we're doing the job that people want us to do. Oftentimes there's not enough time in the day, and it pulls you away from your family at times. But overall, I think that this is what people want us to do, and I think thus far it's making a difference.
Well, thank you, and I have a wonderful holiday season. I'm sure
Thank
you're
you.
going to remain in Montgomery County, and we'll see you next year.
Okay.
Thank you. And for you watching, remember any information that you might need regarding Montgomery County, visit our website, montgomerycountymd.gov, or dial 311. I'm Lorna Virgili. Happy holidays, and again, we'll see you next year.